Everybody, welcome to week 6. Can't believe we're well over halfway in the course. Week 6 really is an exciting one because this is the first time you're going to take this general idea of what you want to do that you've mapped out in chapter 1. Your annotated bibliographies from weeks 4 and 5 with over 16 sources now, and really take that literature and use that to help tell the story of your chapter 1. I'm going to say that again. You're going to take that literature and you're going to help tell the story of chapter 1 through the lens of the literature, funneling the reader down to your specific intervention. So before I talk a little bit about the literature review here, and specifically what I want you to focus on this week, I want you to think about chapter 2 as an expanded chapter 1, a big funnel that starts off with the major concepts, whittling the reader down to your individual idea through a lens of the research. Okay, and to that end, that is a complex thing to do, and there are a lot of things in week 6 module for you to do, but by far the most important is the reading from the text. And that text that I'd like you to focus on for this week is writing the literature review, and you will see that chapter 7 is what they would like you to do. Okay, so I'm going to draw your attention to some parts of chapter 7 and really urge you to do a close read of chapter 7 here. So chapter 7 is structuring and organizing the review, and it's a really nice place for you to start because that's really what you've been doing with your annotated bibliography. Okay, chapter 7 talks about approaches to the review, developing a synthesis matrix, summary tables, constructing a summary table. A lot of this here is what you've already done in your annotated bibliography. But what I want you really to focus on here is this section where it talks about making an outline. Okay, making an outline can be a very important thing. We talk about some checklists here to making concept maps, and then it gets in here to an outline. And there's a lot of different ways to do this outline. One by theme, chronological, and I encourage you to read all these different methods and think about the one that leverages the story you are trying to do best. So, for example, if I was writing an outline for the literature review, for the peer example that I shared with you in our email a few days ago, and then again in today's email, I would look right here at the purpose, right? So we got your chapter 1, the big funnel, but it's bringing us down here to the purpose. The purpose of the study will be to uncover the main reasons why the intrinsic motivation to read for pleasure decreases, specifically in 6th grade, and to propose instructional strategies to support the development of intrinsic motivation. So my literature review, a thematic outline for my literature review, would start off very big with the general idea here of intrinsic motivation. What is intrinsic motivation? What do we know about intrinsic motivation? Then I'd get a little bit more specific and talk about what do we know about intrinsic motivation for reading, specifically reading for pleasure. Talk about studies that have been done on intrinsic motivation for reading. Okay, and then get even a little bit more specific as I move through, looking at specifically what does the research say about why intrinsic motivation for reading decreases. Okay, talk about the research there, then get a little specific and see if I can find research on why it decreases in the 6th grade. Okay, and then see if I can get some research on instructional strategies to support intrinsic motivation. So really, the funnel for the literature review is nothing more than moving the literature review through your purpose. Okay? The purpose of this study will be to uncover the main reasons why the intrinsic motivations stop. The first thing this writer will talk about is intrinsic motivation, the research on that. To read for pleasure. Next thing, intrinsic motivation for reading for pleasure. Next thing, research on intrinsic motivation for reading for pleasure in elementary school students. Next thing, instructional strategies that have been used to address lack of intrinsic motivation for reading. Boom. And then the final thing would be synthesizing these to then propose some sort of solution. Remember, you are not doing the intervention, you are leveraging the research. So when you make your outlines, look at me. I encourage you, I urge you to write out your purpose and follow your purpose through as it were, if it were a funnel, from great grand ideas to the specific ideas that you are going to be looking at. And those ideas will then become the titles and themes for your literature review. Now, with that said, there's many different ways to approach it, and I encourage you to please take Chapter 7 in writing the literature review, the Afron and Ravid text, very seriously. This is an incredible document for you and something that I encourage you to please have handy and really treat it as your Bible as you go through this process. Take care.